G'day, Josh here with another Chest Rush guide, and this one is all about items, how to equip them, what the various items are, what they do, and what sort of heroes you should be equipping them to. So you can see in the background, I've currently got just some random gameplay happening, but this is good because it's going to show me equipping items. So obviously the items are kept in the chest on the side of the board. You click on the chest to view the items, you click on the item that you want, and then you hit the equip button. That is also how you can upgrade items as you collect them. Each item has 4 levels: beginner, intermediate, expert, and ultimate. The first 3 levels, it's just the same feature being stacked 3 times. Then when you get to the ultimate level of each item, it becomes quite powerful. So it's definitely worth giving one hero 4 of the same item if you can, because then you're achieving that item's ultimate level. You can also click on individual heroes, and on the left hand side you will see their items, and on the right hand side, or the items that are currently equipped, on the right hand side you'll see the items that you can equip. Now the game is good in that it gives you a bit of an indication as to what items are recommended for each hero. So if you click on that on the treasure chest, you select an item, and it might show you that this hero is recommended to use this item, but that doesn't mean that you have to just give it to those heroes. There's certainly some other great heroes to equip items to that may not be recommended. Now, as we go through the items, I'm going to have an overlay coming up on the screen. You'll see it right here. The very first one is, or just in terms, I'm just going to do it alphabetically. So critical greatsword. The first 3 levels of the critical greatsword increases the attack damage by 75. Then the ultimate level, the 4th time you've I guess it's the 3rd time you've upgraded it. Once the 4th item is on a hero, the 4th copy of critical greatsword, you have a 15% chance to deal 400% damage, which is pretty significant. So you definitely want to be equipping your critical greatsword to one of the units that is going to be dishing out the most damage. Now you obviously have the little DPS chart that shows you real time which of your heroes is dealing the most damage. So make sure you're keeping an eye out on that throughout the game, so you know which of your heroes in your current composition is the one that is basically dealing the most damage, and that's a hero, the top 1 or top 2 that you want to be equipping that critical greatsword to. The 15% chance to deal 400 damage, that's a ton of damage, and 15% is pretty decent. So, and just by the time you've got to the ultimate, you've actually increased that hero's attack damage by 225, so that is quite significant as well. Now this is a catch with items. Early on they're quite good as you're beginning the game, because they can, like that 75% attack damage on a 1-star hero is significant when you're versing other 1-stars. You can almost 2-shot heroes. Some of the heroes you can almost 2-shot them, but you have to consider whether you're still going to want to be having that item equipped to that particular hero later on in the game, whether they're still going to be your DPS unit later on. Keep in mind also, if you do sell a unit that is equipped with items, you will get those items back into your treasure chest. So don't ever worry about that. You're never going to lose items, but you can't, once an item is equipped to a hero, unless you sell them, you can't change which hero it's equipped to. So definitely keep that in mind. The next item that you will see is the defensive armor. Obviously, this is not an attack-based item. This is a defense-based item. It's in the name. The first 3 levels all increase the equipped hero's armor by 15, and then the ultimate level of defensive armor deals 100 magic damage per second to all surrounding enemies within 1 grid. So it's a fairly tight area. It's only 1 grid that the magic damage is dealt, but this is a really good item for a tanky style unit, someone that's going to be taking tons of damage, because for twofold really. Especially once you get to the ultimate level, obviously you're increasing that player's armor, but also not only is that helping them stay alive longer, the longer they stay alive, the more damage they're going to deal because of the ultimate level of the defensive armor. So that's definitely the sort of thing you want to chuck on one of your tankier units. Now we move on to Forbidden Tome. Increases mana recovered by 50% when taking damage. And that's the first 3 levels. And then the ultimate level is gains a shield with 20% of max health upon using an ability. So obviously you want to be equipping this to a hero that actually uses mana, as not all heroes do. Some heroes have passive abilities, so make sure that you do not equip any mana-based item to a hero that has a passive ability. And because it increases mana recovered by 50% when taking damage, you're kind of gonna want it to be a hero that's in the front line or within the battle, not one of your sorcerers or hunters at the back line. It's not taking much damage, otherwise it's not actually doing much. That's another consideration. And the third thing to consider, and you can actually see this by clicking on a hero and clicking on their ability on the left-hand side, consider the cooldown speed. So because it's increasing mana so quickly, the shorter the cooldown speed, the more benefit the Forbidden Tome will be. And gaining a shield with 20% of max health is quite nice. So once again, a unit that you want to stay alive to maybe use their ability multiple times. So that's the sort of hero you're looking for to equip and max out Forbidden Tome. Piercing Dagger is our next item, and that's the fourth item that we've got to so far. There are 6 in total, if you were curious. If you played the game a bit, you would have seen them all. Piercing Dagger increases attack speed by 15 for the first 3 levels, and then once you reach the ultimate form, each attack reduces target's armor by 5, and that stacks up to 8 times. So you can actually decrease the target's armor up to 40, which is pretty significant. Now, something you want to keep in mind with this is its physical damage. This doesn't affect, in terms of the armor, actually, I don't believe it's magic damage that will trigger the ultimate, but I'm not actually 100% sure on that. That's kind of just an assumption. I probably have to do a little bit more research. If you know whether magic damage as opposed to physical damage can actually trigger the ultimate on this weapon, please let me know in the comments down below. But obviously increasing attack speed by 15, this is great once again on your heroes that are dishing out tons of damage, the heroes that are doing the most damage on your team. If you can speed up the rate at which they deal out that damage, obviously you're going to be winning even more fights. So once again, pairing this up with the critical Greatsword is really nice because you're increasing damage and increasing the rate at which that damage is dealt. So that's definitely a DPS style hero you want to be equipping the Piercing Dagger to. The second last item here is the Resistance Cloak. First 3 levels increase magic resistance by 10, and then the ultimate has a 30% chance to nullify an enemy's incoming ability. So this is quite good once again on a tanky style unit. You definitely want to have it on a unit that you want to stay alive as long as possible. So it can even be the same unit that you've put the which one was it, the defensive armor on, because that protects against physical damage. This protects against magical damage, so you can definitely double up on that. But this is quite a nice one, and the fact that it has a 30% chance, that's essentially a 1 in 3 chance to nullify an enemy's incoming ability, is pretty decent as well. It will definitely help that unit stay alive. And the final item here, the Spellbane Staff. This one increases mana recovered by 50% when dealing damage, so this is great for those sorcerers in the back line. And its ultimate version reduces target's magic resistance by 60 when dealing damage through abilities. So once again, you want to have this obviously on a hero that has an ability, not a passive, and you want to have it on one ideally that has a pretty low cooldown so it can keep getting to that ability real fast and then triggering it. And if it's an area of effect hero, that is the ultimate, because then when it sends that spell out, its ability out, it's reducing every target that it hits their magic resistance by 60, which is fantastic. So Spellbane Staff you definitely want on a hero with an ability, a magic ability, and if it's an area of effect ability, that is the best. So they are each of the items. Let me know how you use them in the comments down below, whether you've got anything that's a little bit different to what I've suggested. And as I said, if you know about the Piercing Dagger, whether or not that does also trigger on magic damage, I'd be very interested to know. Please leave that in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my future content, and thank you so much for checking out this video.